They promised us closure, they promised justice. But after 8 long years, one burning question still haunts every fan of The Handmaid's Tale. Where is Hannah? Is this just an abandoned plotline? Or is Hulu hiding a much darker truth behind her absence? In this video, we're diving deep into the hidden story that started it all, and why the Season 6 finale must answer it, or risk destroying everything The Handmaid's Tale ever stood for. Stick around, because the ending of this series might be way more tragic than you think. But before we begin, comment below. Do you think June will ever see Hannah again? Or has Gilead already won? Let's get into it. The forgotten heart of the story. In the beginning, The Handmaid's Tale was never about war. It wasn't about diplomacy or explosions or plane crashes. It was about a mother and her daughter, June, and Hannah. From season 1, every horrifying decision, every defiant stare from June was fueled by one thing: getting Hannah back. Even when June was beaten, tortured, and brainwashed, she never stopped whispering her daughter's name. But here's where things get strange. By season 6, Hannah is gone, not dead, not rescued, just written out of existence. No updates, no flashbacks, not even a mention in most episodes. And fans are asking the same terrifying question: did June forget about her daughter? A war on 2 fronts. To be fair, season 6 has been chaotic, with Serena and Commander Wharton's wedding falling apart, the handmaids making one last desperate escape, and that explosive finale twist. June has a lot on her plate. But let's not forget, Hannah isn't a side plot, she's the plot. So why is the show treating her like she doesn't matter anymore? Maybe it's because the showrunners already know something we don't. And if you've read The Testaments, Margaret Atwood's sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, you already know where this is going. Hannah's fate is worse than we imagined. The Testament's tragic truth. In The Testaments, Hannah, now called Agnes, is still in Gilead, alive, but twisted by the system. She's grown up without her mother, without freedom, without truth. And here's the worst part: she doesn't even remember who June is. Let that sink in. 8 years of pain, sacrifice, escape plans, alliances, bloodshed, all for nothing. That's the cruel genius of The Testaments. It's not just a sequel, it's a betrayal of hope. And it means one thing for season 6. Finale. June cannot if Hulu plans to faithfully adapt The Testaments next. Then Hannah won't be rescued. June won't win. And this story? It ends in silence, not salvation. But what if? That's exactly the point. What if The Handmaid's Tale was never about saving Hannah? What if it was about losing her and surviving anyway? Drop a proof in the comments if you believe Hannah's story is the key to June's final arc. But don't go anywhere, because in page 2, we uncover the secret reason Hannah disappeared from the show, and how one hidden clue in episode 9 might prove she's already been taken by someone even worse than Gilead. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Previously, we explored how The Handmaid's Tale quietly pushed Hannah to the background, despite her being the beating heart of June's entire journey. But now, it's time to go deeper. Because hidden within the chaos of Season 6, Episode 9, there are signs, clues that Hannah's story is already over, and no one noticed. Until now. Episode 9's Strange Silence. Let's talk about Episode 9. The commanders are plotting. Mayday is risking everything. And June? She's targeting Gilead's high command. And yet, not a single shot of Hannah, not a whisper. This isn't just strange, it's intentional. It's what we call a narrative blackout. When writers want to imply something tragic has already happened, something too painful to say aloud, they don't show it. They omit it. In this case, Hannah's absence feels like the story is mourning her, without ever confirming her fate. But there's more. The code in Lawrence's actions, remember Commander Lawrence? He's always walked the line between villain and reluctant ally. But in Season 5, he personally ordered the planes, meant to rescue Hannah, to be shot down. That wasn't a military decision. It was personal. And now in Season 6, Lawrence is dead. His plane exploded alongside Nick and Wharton. But what if that explosion wasn't just an attack? What if it was a cover-up? Think about it. Lawrence dies, and suddenly there's no one left who knows what really happened to Hannah. It's possible, chillingly possible, that Hannah has already been moved somewhere no one can find her, not even June. In Gilead mythology, there's an elite group of indoctrinated young girls being trained to be wives. They're called the Pearls. In the Testaments, Hannah becomes one of them. she's sent to, it's not just religious, it's militarized. Psychological warfare disguised as Faith Remember in Season 5, when Mayday tried to reach the school that looked more like a fortress. That wasn't a rescue mission, it was a funeral. Because once a girl enters Pearl training, she's no longer just a child, she's property. And here's the gut-wrenching truth. If Hannah is in Pearl training, June may never reach her again. Not physically, she may grow up believing Gilead is her salvation. And June? Just a distant name from a forgotten dream. Why the finale must break us. Let's face it, audiences want catharsis. They want June to rescue Hannah, to burn Gilead to the ground, to walk into the sunset with her child. But The Handmaid's Tale has never been about happy endings. It's about hard truths. And the hardest truth of all is this. The finale might end in silence. No Hannah, no rescue, just the painful weight of survival, without closure. Because if The Testaments is next, the writers have already made their choice. Hannah is gone. June's arc will end not with victory, but with loss, with memory, with heartbreak. And it might be the most honest ending television has given us in years. So when the screen fades to black, and the credits roll on 8 years of rebellion and resistance, ask yourself, was this ever about winning? Or was it about witnessing? Witnessing the cost, the trauma, the daughters lost, and the systems that made them forget who they truly were. But here's the twist. What if Hannah doesn't need to be saved? What if she's the one who'll bring Gilead down from the inside, in the Testaments? What if this entire time, she wasn't just the key to June's arc, she was the setup for her own revolution? Coming up in page 3, we break down how Hannah's transformation in the Testaments could set up the next generation of resistance, and why Season 6's ending might be planting the seeds for something far more powerful than a reunion. Drop a comment below. Let Hannah fight if you think her story is just beginning. We're just getting started. If The Handmaid's Tale ends in heartbreak, then The Testaments begins in rebellion. And at the center of it all, not June, not Serena, not even Aunt Lydia, but Hannah, or as Gilead will soon call her, Agnes. This is the truth no one saw coming. Because Hannah's story isn't ending, it's evolving. The forgotten daughter rises. In the Testaments, Hannah grows up without knowing who June really was. Her memories are fuzzy, her name is changed, her life has been rewritten. But deep inside, a fire burns. Even after years of indoctrination, even after Gilead twists her identity into Agnes, she begins to question everything. Why doesn't she feel whole? Why does Gilead's version of truth feel manufactured? This internal conflict becomes the real war, not between nations, but within a single girl. And that girl, she's the future of the resistance. Aunt Lydia's last redemption. Here's the twist no one expects. The next phase of Hannah's journey is guided by Aunt Lydia. Yes, that Aunt Lydia. In the Testaments, she's no longer the unwavering villain we knew. She's become a double agent, secretly collecting dirt on Gilead, waiting for the perfect moment to destroy it from within. And she chooses 2 girls as her weapons. Nicole, June's second daughter, raised in freedom. And Agnes, Hannah, raised in Gilead. 2 daughters, 2 worlds, 1 mission, burn Gilead down. But Hannah, Agnes, doesn't become a warrior overnight. She's scared, conflicted, raised to be obedient, programmed to submit. But the moment she uncovers her true origin, that her mother didn't abandon her, that she was stolen, that everything she believed was a lie, she doesn't cry, she rises. And suddenly all that pain, the isolation, the loss, the silence becomes her strength. She doesn't need June to rescue her anymore, because now she's the one with the power to destroy Gilead from the inside. The 2-daughter revolution. Here's where it all comes together. Nicole, raised in Canada, unbroken, free-thinking, outspoken. Agnes, raised in Gilead, disciplined, strategically placed, forgotten. Together, they represent the 2 halves of June, one forged in fire, the other in frost. And Aunt Lydia, she sees it, she trains them, empowers them, and in the end, she uses them as weapons of truth. This is what The Handmaid's Tale was always leading to, not just survival, but inheritance. June's legacy isn't freedom, it's fury. So if Season 6 ends with June failing to save Hannah, don't mourn. Because her failure is not the end, it's the spark, the rage, the grief, the love unfulfilled. That's what Hannah inherits, and she doesn't waste it. She turns it into revolution, and that's what The Testaments is all about. But hold on, Hulu could change things. They've hinted that June might appear in the Testaments adaptation. That means the TV version might give us something the books didn't, a final reunion. Imagine this, years later. Hannah, now a grown woman standing at the edge of a crumbling Gilead. She meets a scarred, older June in a secret room. No words, just eye contact, recognition, and then tears. Not because Hannah remembers, but because she finally understands who she was, who her mother was, and what it cost them both to get here. That would be the most powerful scene in television history. So if you're waiting for a happy ending, here's the truth. You might not get it, but you will get justice. sometimes that's better, because The Handmaid's Tale isn't a fairy tale, it's a prophecy, and Hannah, Agnes, is the one who will fulfill it. Drop a comment below. I'm ready for the testaments if you think Hannah's arc is just beginning. And if you're still wondering what that final scene of Season 6 might look like, click this next video where we storyboard the possible finale in full cinematic detail, shot by shot. Let's finish this together.